I knew something was wrong the moment the room went quiet. Too quiet for a birthday celebration. You see, when a family loves you, silence feels warm, safe, familiar. But when a family laughs at you, the silence that follows is cold enough to bruise your bone. My name is Harold Quinn, and on the day I turned 76, my own daughter handed me a gift that made my soul curl in on itself. A gift she wrapped with shiny paper and ugly intention. A gift that told me exactly what she thought of me. But don't worry, Karma heard everything, and it didn't wait long. The moment she placed the box in front of me, I knew. I could feel her eyes on me, not with love, not even with curiosity, but the kind of look someone gives right before pushing a joke too far. "Go on, Dad," she said, her voice loud. Too loud, loud enough for the room to hear, loud enough to make sure I couldn't pretend later that it was meant to be private. Everyone leaned in. Her friends, her husband, her teenagers, who barely remembered I existed unless they needed rides or money. I swallowed, my hands, old and tired, brushed against the glossy wrapping. A part of me whispered, "Harold, don't open it." But another part, the hopeful, foolish part of a father, whispered back, "Maybe it's something kind. Maybe she remembered who used to be to her." I peeled the tape slowly. The whole room held its breath, not out of affection, but anticipation. The box opened, and there it was. A bright neon pink apron with giant letters across the chest. "Retire already. You're embarrassing your family." Laughter exploded like fireworks. But not the happy kind, the sharp kind, cruel, echoing off the walls, bouncing around my ribs, settling in the cracks of my old heart. My daughter, my only child, was laughing the loudest. "Come on, Dad," she giggled, wiping tears. "It's just a joke, because everyone knows you should have stopped working years ago. We all know it. Everyone, we all know it." My throat tightened, my breath thinned. My birthday cake sat untouched behind me, candles melting themselves into small puddles of wax. I didn't say a word, not yet, because I didn't know that what happened next, the thing waiting quietly on the edge of fate, would flip this humiliation back onto her faster than she could wipe that smirk off her face. I didn't know. Karma was already on its way. And this apron, this cruel little joke, was only the beginning. My name, as I told you, is Harold Quinn, 76 years old, retired carpenter, still waking up every morning at 5:30 because habits hold tighter than age. People say I have steady hands for someone my age. Funny, isn't it? Steady enough to carve rocking chairs, mend broken table, build cribs, but somehow not steady enough, apparently, to earn respect from my own daughter. I live in a quiet little town outside Willow, in a house I built myself 50 years ago. Back then the floors smelled like fresh pine, and my wife, Lily, would complain that the scent gave her a headache, even though she secretly loved it. She passed away 12 winters ago, and ever since then, the house has been too big, too quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't comfort you, the kind that presses on your chest. My daughter, Claire, was my joy, my tiny shadow who followed me around the workshop, wearing her little overalls, handing me tools even when I didn't need them. "Daddy, when I grow up, I'll help you build everything," she'd say. But life builds walls too. And somewhere between her teenage years and adulthood, one rose between us. I don't know when exactly it happened. Maybe when her mother died. Maybe when I threw myself into work to survive the grief. Maybe when she married into a family that believed money measured worth. But the truth is simpler. Claire grew up and I grew old. And the world teaches some people that old things are disposable. Still, despite everything, I held on to hope. Every birthday, I hoped she'd look at me the way she used to, with warmth, with recognition, with that childlike belief that I was someone worth admiring. That morning, before she humiliated, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, shaving my cheeks the way Lily taught me, upward strokes, gentle pressure. My reflection looked tired, yes, but not useless, not a burden. I rehearsed the things I wanted to say to Claire. "I'm proud of you. I miss you. I wish we talked more." I even considered telling her that I wasn't doing well financially, but not because I needed help, because I wanted her to care. But I never got the chance. When she invited me to her home for my birthday, I thought maybe she wanted a moment with her father. Maybe we were turning a new page. Maybe she remembered my favorite cake flavor or how I always loved simple, quiet celebrations. Instead, she remembered something else, something colder, something she learned from her new world. The world where image means everything and aging parents become props in tasteless jokes. But here's the thing about shame. When you swallow it quietly, the world thinks you're weak. Yet that silence becomes the birthplace of truth. And the truth, the one Claire never expected, was already unfolding. The morning of my birthday started like every other morning, with the soft groan of my old wooden floors beneath my feet. I built those floors when I was 20, sanded them smooth, coated them carefully, proud of how they gleam. Now they're worn down, dulled by decades of footsteps, arguments, laughter, and long nights waiting for people who stopped visiting. My house is a small two-bedroom place at the end of a quiet street. The kind of home where the refrigerator hums too loudly, the heater knocks like an old man clearing his throat, and the windows rattle when winter winds get impatient. I know every sound by heart. I know exactly when the pipe beneath the sink will groan. I know when the mailman arrives, because the gravel crunches just right. When you live alone long enough, even silence develops a personality. My mornings usually start in the workshop behind the house, a small wooden shed with dust floating in the air like tiny memories refusing to settle. Tools hang on the walls in perfect order. I never changed their arrangement, even after Lily teased me that it looked like I was preparing for war. Sometimes I catch myself talking to her photo on the workbench. Small things, soft things. I fixed the chair leg, Lily. The rain is coming early this year. Claire hasn't called. The last one always stays in the air longer than I want. The truth is, Claire stopped coming around after she married a man who measures people by the cars they drive and the circles they stand in. His family hosts dinners where everyone talks but no one listens. I attended too. That was enough. Over the years, Claire's visits shrank, first from weekly to monthly, then from monthly to holidays. Then even holidays turned into rush drop-in, with gifts that felt more like obligation. Still, she was my daughter, and a father's heart holds on to hope the way roots hold the earth. That morning, I brewed coffee, the kind that tastes a bit like burnt toast but feels warm in the hands. I stood by the window, staring at the garden Lily planted decades ago. The roses were pale now, tired, like they were waiting for someone to notice them again. As I watched the petals shake in the breeze, a thought passed through my mind, unsettling and quiet. This birthday, something feels off. I brushed it aside. I shouldn't have, because later, when I walked into Claire's beautifully decorated living room, polished floors, expensive furniture, the kind of place where everything looks perfect but nothing feels lived in, I felt it again. That strange tightness, a warning, and when she handed me the shiny box with that little smirk, the warning turned into certain, but I still didn't understand the whole picture. Not yet, because the most painful part of the truth was still hiding, waiting for the right moment to expose itself like a splinter under the skin. When I walked into Claire's living room that afternoon, something felt staged, not decorated, staged, like a scene prepared in advance, rehearsed even, waiting for the final actor to arrive. The lights were a bit too bright, the guests a bit too eager, the smiles stretched too wide to be natural. Even the air smelled unfamiliar, something artificial, like the floral sprays Claire used whenever she wanted the house to seem picturesque. I stepped inside slowly. People greeted me, but not warmly, more like they were waiting to see something, waiting for me to do something. Ethan, my son-in-law, clapped me on the back a little too hard. Harold, still standing strong, didn't think you'd make it through the winter. He laughed. Everyone else chuckled politely. I smiled weakly, but inside a small thought whispered, why would he say that? Then I noticed something odd. On the kitchen counter, beside the cake, was a phone set up on a mini tripod. Recording, pointed directly at the seat where Claire gestured for me to sit. Right here, Dad, she insisted, patting the chair. Her tone was sweet, but her eyes were sharp, too sharp. I sat down. My hands tightened on the armrests. The room grew quiet. Conversations died mid-sentence. Someone muted the music. Everyone was watching, not like family celebrating, but like spectators waiting for the main act. I tried to breathe normally. I couldn't. Claire moved around the room like a host at a comedy show, whispering something to her friend Emily. They giggled, covering their mouths, glancing at. Unease crawled up my spine. I noticed Ethan's teenage son nudging his sister, pointing at me, laughing under his breath. I pretended not to see. Then I heard it, the soft beep of a phone notification behind me. A whisper, a flash of a message on someone's lock screen as they lifted their device. He's here, ready. Ready. Ready for what? My stomach tightened. Claire finally approached me, carrying a shiny box with both hands like it was a trophy. Her smile was too big, too rehearsed. Everyone, she announced, thank you for coming to celebrate my dad's 76th birthday. And today, we have a special gift for him. People leaned forward. My breath hitched. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I noticed something in her expression that chilled me. Not pride, not love, not even mischief, but satisfaction, as if she had been waiting all week, maybe longer, for this moment. The hairs on my arm stood up. Something is wrong, very wrong. And then, just before she placed the box in front of me, I heard Ethan whisper his brother, "Get ready, he's going to look so confused." My suspicion sharpened into dread. Whatever was inside, that box wasn't meant to delight me. It was meant to break me. But even then, I had no idea just how deep humiliation went, or what secret Claire was trying so desperately to hide behind her laughter. Not yet. The moment the box touched the table in front of me, the room leaned forward like a single creature, hungry for a reaction. I could hear everything, the clink of someone's glass, the nervous tap of a shoe, the soft hum of the camera recording me. My fingers hesitated over the wrapping paper. "Go on, Dad," Claire said, her voice sugary, her eyes cold. "Open it." I peeled the tape slowly. My hands trembled, but not from age, from dread. The lid lifted with a soft rustle. And there it was, a neon pink apron with huge block letters. "Retire already. You're embarrassing your family." The words screamed at me, mocking, unmistakable. The room erupted in laughter, loud, explosive, uncontrolled. I didn't laugh. I didn't even blink. My heart sank the way a stone sinks into still water, silently but permanently. But then, just as I folded the apron back into the box, something else caught my eye. A second item, thin, glossy, tucked under the apron like a hidden sting. A laminated printout. I pulled it out slowly. The laughter around me softened into murmur as people craned their necks to see. It was a chart, a ridiculous, cartoonish diagram titled, "Signs of an Aging Parent Needs Supervision." Under it were bullet points, childish drawings next to each one. "Forgets things, moves slowly, talks too long, needs reminders, makes people uncomfortable in public, should consider retirement or assisted living." And next to each bullet point, a little picture of me. Photos Claire had taken over months, some secretly, of me tying my shoe, reading labels in the grocery store, pausing on a staircase to catch my breath, each one edited with silly emoji or sarcastic caption. People gasped. The laughter died instantly. My vision blurred for a moment. The room felt smaller. The air felt colder. I looked at Claire. She wasn't laughing now. She was frozen, not with guilt, but with fear. Fear that I had found the part of the gift that wasn't meant for the audience to see. Her eyes widened. "Dad, that part wasn't. I didn't mean to." But I wasn't listening anymore. Because at the bottom of the laminated sheet, in bold text, was something far worse. "Aging parents can be a liability. Plan early," followed by a handwritten note, written in Claire's neat handwriting. "Show this to Ethan later. He said he can ask his friend about the paperwork." Paperwork. My heart stuttered. Ethan's friend. Paperwork. Liability. It all clicked at once. This wasn't just a cruel joke. This was preparation, a setup, a plan to make me look incompetent, unreliable, unable to live alone, so that when the time came, they could justify taking control of my life, my home, my saving. And suddenly, the humiliation wasn't the worst part. The betrayal was. The apron was just a distraction. The real gift was proof of a plan they hoped I would never see. My fingers tightened on the laminated sheet. Something inside me broke quietly but permanently, and I realized this birthday was never about celebrating. It was about removing me. I left Claire's house that evening with the laminated sheet still trembling in my hand. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. I didn't even wait for cake. I just walked out. The cold air hit my face like a slap, but it cleared my mind. The humiliation hurt. But the note at the bottom, "Ask his friend about the paperwork," that terrified me. Paperwork for what? To take what I built, to declare me unfit, to make decisions for me, before I even had a chance to speak. When I got home, I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat in the dim glow from the street lamp outside, the laminated sheet on my lap, my hands shaking. A thought crept in, quiet but sharp. What else have they done behind my back? At first, I didn't want to know, but a few minutes later, curiosity turned into something stronger, something I hadn't felt in years. Determination. I stood, walked to the small drawer where I kept old papers and pulled out my phone, not for calling, but for searching. You see, even old men learn new tricks when they must. I typed Ethan's name. Nothing interesting. But then I tried searching Claire's full name. A link popped up. A family planning seminar hosted by one of Ethan's close associates, the same friend I'd seen at their party. The topic, managing aging parents and their assets. My stomach twisted. I clicked deeper. There were forms, brochures, legal templates for early transfer of ownership, and assisted living authorization, all designed to look helpful, but really tools to move control away from aging parents. And then a shock, a downloadable sample form, and the name on the corner was familiar. Not mine, Claire S., her signature, dated 2 weeks ago. The room went still. I clicked another file, this time a PDF. It wasn't completed, but several fields were filled in. My house address, my bank branch, my estimated asset, information only Claire would know. My breath caught. She was preparing everything quietly, behind my back, smiling at me while planning where to place me, laughing with her friends while organizing my life like an object in a storage unit. I felt a weight in my chest, heavy and cold, but I wasn't done, because something else caught my eye, an email icon glowing at the top of the screen. I opened it. It was a shared Google folder, accidentally synced to my device months ago when I helped Claire fix her phone. Inside were messages, screenshots, voice notes. My fingers hovered, trembling, and then I pressed play on the first voice message. Claire's voice spilled out. He's slowing down. If we make a case that he can't manage alone, the paperwork will go through faster. Ethan said the lawyer will help. I felt the air leave my lungs. And then another voice, Ethan S. We'll make it look like we're helping him. People will understand. No one expects old men to hold on forever. Old men, liability, paperwork. My humiliation wasn't an accident. It was step one. The apron, the chart, the jokes. All part of a narrative they were building. A story where I was incompetent, a burden, a man who needed his life taken over. But what they didn't know, I had already seen enough, more than enough, and I was no longer confused. I was awake. I thought I had already seen the worst of it. The jokes, the forms, the quiet plans to take control of my life. But betrayal, true betrayal, hides in the places you don't look. It was close to midnight when I opened the last folder in that shared drive. A folder labeled simply, Future Plans. My thumb hesitated. Part of me whispered, Stop, Harold. Haven't you suffered enough today? But I clicked anyway. Inside were photos, documents, screenshots of messages between Claire and The first one hit me like a hammer. A picture of my house, the home I built with Lily, the place where Claire took her first steps, circled in red marker with a caption, could sell for at least $350K, renovate later. My hand tightened on the phone. Then another message. Claire, if Dad refuses, we can push the safety evaluation. Ethan's friend said it won't take long. Ethan, good. Once it's done, he won't be able to make decisions on his own anymore. I stopped breathing. They weren't just planning to take my home. They were planning to take my voice, my independence, my rights, my choices, a legal cage wrapped in polite words. I scrolled further. More messages, each one cutting deeper than the last. Claire, after that we can place him in Ridgeview. It'll look compassionate. Ethan, yeah, and we'll say it's for his safety. No one will question. Ridgeview, a facility an hour away. Cold, sterile. I visited once to drop off a chair I repaired for a resident. People there stared out windows like ghosts wearing human skin. I felt sick. But then I opened a video file, a recording of Claire talking to two of her friends. They didn't know the camera was on. Claire laughed, that same laugh she used when she handed me the apron. Oh, please, she said, waving her hand. My dad's helpless. He can barely manage without messing something up. Once the paperwork is done, everything will be easier. One friend nodded. The other asked, won't he be upset? Claire shrugged. He'll get over it. Old people always do. Old people always do. Like our pain is temporary. Like our dignity is optional. Like our memories don't matter. I sat there in the dark, my heart heavy, my eyes stinging. But then I played the final audio file, a snippet recorded from their kitchen, probably accidentally captured when Claire set her phone down. Ethan's voice came first. Make the birthday thing funny. The video will help if we need proof he's confused or emotionally unstable. Emotionally unstable. Proof, my humiliation, had been scripted. The apron, the jokes, the chart, a performance. For the camera, for the future court case, they planned to build against me. Claire whispered back, don't worry. I'll make him look old and lost, just enough. A long silence followed. Then quietly she added, he trusts me too much. It won't be hard. Trust, the one thing I gave her freely, was the weapon she chose to use. My hands shook, not from age, not from fear, from something far older, deeper, a breaking that echoed through all the years. I held her when she cried, fed her when she was sick, worked extra hours so she could go to college, stayed up late waiting for her to come home safely. All those years. And she looked at me and saw nothing but a burden to remove. But she made one mistake. She assumed I was powerless. She forgot the part of me that built a life from dust and splinter. The part Lily used to call my quiet strength. And that strength was waking up. Slowly, silently, dangerously clear. The next morning, I woke before the sun. I didn't sleep much. Not with the weight of betrayal pressing on my chest. But my mind was clearer than it had been in years. I made a decision, not out of revenge, not out of anger, but out of something far more dangerous. For people who think they can't be caught. Clarity. I gathered everything. The screenshots, the emails, the audio file, the documents she tried to hide under that tacky laminated chart. I printed some, saved others to a USB, and slipped them into the inside pocket of my old coat. Then I called someone I hadn't spoken to in months. Mrs. Harrow, my late wife's closest friend, and one of the sharpest women I've ever met. She answered on the second ring. Harold, are you all right? Your voice sounds different. I finished. I need a witness. She didn't ask why. She just said, I'll be ready in 10 minutes. We drove together to Claire's house. It was early, too early for a casual visit. Good. I didn't want casual. When Claire opened the door, she froze. Dad, why are you? I walked past her without waiting for permission. Mrs. Harrow followed behind me, cane tapping the hardwood rhythmic. Ethan stumbled into the living room, rubbing his eye. What's going on? I didn't answer. I placed my coat on the couch, pulled out the USB, and set it beside their fancy speaker system. Claire looked worried. Ethan looked annoyed. Dad, she said cautiously, if this is about yesterday. It is, I replied. Calm, cold, unshakable. I picked up the remote, connected the USB, and pressed play. Her voice filled the room. He's slowing down. If we make a case that he can't manage alone, the paperwork will go through faster. The color drained from her face. Ethan took a step forward. Turn that off. I didn't. Another clip played. Make the birthday thing funny. The video will help if we need proof he's confused or emotionally unstable. Silence. No laughter now. Claire covered her mouth with trembling hands. I watched her not with anger, but with something heavier. Disappointment, the kind that makes a person feel small. Dad, I can explain, she stuttered. No, I said softly. You already explained. I laid the printed documents on the coffee table, forms she had prepared with Ethan's friend, notes she thought I'd never see. Ethan tried to speak, but Mrs. Harrow stepped forward, her voice sharp as winter air. How dare you manipulate a man who has given you everything, she hissed. You call yourselves family. Claire burst into tears. Dad, please, I was scared. You're getting older, and I thought. You thought I was a burden, I finished. She sank onto the couch, sobbing. Ethan looked between us, clueless now that the script had fallen apart. I took a long breath. I am not here to scream, I said. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to tell you that I know everything, and I will never let you take my life away from me. Her tears slowed. What does that mean? It means, I said, standing tall, As of this morning, you have been removed from every legal document involving my home, my accounts, and my decision." She gasped. Ethan stiffened. "And one more thing," I added, voice steady. "If you ever attempt anything like this again, these recordings will go to an attorney, and then everyone will know exactly who you are." The room stayed still, silent, heavy. I didn't wait for a reply. I walked out with Mrs. Harrow beside me, the door closing softly behind us. A door I no longer wished to walk through again. But karma wasn't done yet. Claire's real lesson was still coming. For days after the confrontation, my phone stayed silent. Not a call, not a message, not even a half-hearted apology typed and deleted. And honestly, the silence felt cleaner than the fake warmth I had lived with for years. I spent those days in my workshop, sanding the edge of an old wooden chair. The shavings curled like thin ribbon, soft and delicate. The air smelled of sawdust, familiar, grounding. For the first time in a long while, I felt present in my own life, in my own decision. But even with the peace, there was a heaviness I couldn't shake. A father's heart doesn't stop loving just because it's been bruised. On the fourth day, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with muted pinks and golds, there was a knock on my front door. I knew it was her before I even opened it. Claire stood there, no makeup, no perfect posture, just a woman who looked like she'd been crying for days. "Dad," she whispered. I didn't answer. I just stepped aside. She walked in slowly, eyes scanning the home she had once run through barefoot as a child. The memories were thick in the air, Lily humming in the kitchen, Claire giggling under the table, my hands building a crib in the corner. Claire sat on the couch, wringing her hand. "I don't expect forgiveness," she started, voice trembling. I need you to know I'm ashamed. I forgot who you were. I forgot everything you've done. I let other people influence me. I let my own fears twist me into someone I don't recognize." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I thought controlling things would make life easier. I thought planning ahead was being responsible. But really, I was trying to avoid facing the truth that you won't be here forever. And instead of cherishing the time we have, I tried to manage." She pressed her shaking hands to her face. "I'm so sorry, Dad. I hurt you. I humiliated you. And I don't deserve your love, but I'm begging you not to shut me out." Her words were raw, not rehearsed, not polished, real. The kind of honesty you only find when your world has cracked open. I sat beside her, the couch sinking under our combined weight, a reminder that time had softened us both in different ways. "Claire," I said quietly, "what you did, it broke something, not just trust, something deeper." She nodded, crying harder. "But broken things," I continued, "can be mended if both hands work together." She looked up slowly, hope flickering behind the tears. "I forgive you," I said, "not because it was small, but because you're my daughter, and forgiveness is the only thing stronger than disappointment." She collapsed into my arms like she had when she was a child, sobbing into my shoulder. "I love you, Dad," she whispered. "I love you too," I replied, and this time it didn't hurt to say it. We stayed like that for a long time, letting the past settle around us like dust finally choosing a place to rest. Before she left, she turned to me with red eyes. "I'm going to earn your trust again," she said softly, slowly, patiently, and honestly. I nodded. "Good," I replied, "because dignity is the last thing a person should ever lose, and the first thing a family should protect." She smiled, small, fragile, but real, and walked into the evening light. As the door closed, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Some stories end with shouting, some with broken pieces. Mine ended with a truth I had forgotten. Respect doesn't fade with age. It fades when people stop remembering the heart that carried them. And I was done letting anyone forget. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart or reminded you of the value of dignity, family, and respect, then I hope you'll stay with us for more stories like this. Before you go, let me ask you, what would you have done in my place? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you're new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story. Tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing our community from all around the world come together. Thank you truly. Take care of your loved ones. And remember, respect is a gift we should never stop giving.